Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toxic Topics Tuesday. It is definitely fall. Fall is full on today. And it's one of those days that I woke up just feeling like, tired, lethargic, a little, just tired, so on and so forth. And so this is my energy roller. I'm just like getting it on because it is, oh my gosh, it's after 11 and I am just dragging. So I either need to go back to bed or I need to figure out some other options to keep me going today. So, but I was thinking a lot about just I have to head to the grocery store in a little bit, and I probably am going to stop at Target and maybe even Kohl's, and I know what is going to happen when I do that. I'm going to walk through the clothing or walk by the clothing section, and I'm going to see all these really cute new styles for fall this year, and this is my favorite season, and so they're all my favorite colors that are coming out, and I'm going to be so tempted to leave with a new article of clothing or two or three. So I know I'm probably not alone in that, but I just started thinking about, somebody had asked me recently, we've been doing so much more buying of our clothes online, and someone had ordered some clothing and opened up the package, and it was such a strong smell coming out of the package, and they asked me like, what the heck is that? Why is it that all the clothes that you buy online comes and it stinks when you open up the bag, and you don't have that same thing when you are in the stores, for example? And so I was like, well, that's because of all the chemicals that are found on the clothes. So I thought, you know what, let's do a toxic topic about that this week, especially as some of you might be shopping like me. So I had to laugh a little bit because Kohl's sends out those, the little coupons where you peel back to reveal, and I only got like a 15% this month, and my husband was like, well, forget it, we're not shopping at Kohl's, it's not 30. So it's probably a good thing that it wasn't 30, or I'd definitely be stopping there. But here's the thing, guys. So those chemicals that that are on our clothes, they are the things that make our clothing waterproof or wrinkle proof or stain proof or moisture wicking, for example. Those are all things that we've come to really appreciate. I don't know when the last time I got my iron out was. I am not one to iron very often because, if my clothes need to be ironed, they probably don't live in my closet. I probably don't own them. It's sad to say, but I know there was a time, and my mom is really, she will iron, all the time. That's just what you did. You ironed. And I think it's just another indication of more of the chemicals that are brought into our life. And it's important to take a look at what they are and what they do for us, and then make a decision as gatekeepers of our homes. I say that a lot, as the gatekeepers of our homes, whether or not we want to allow those chemicals into our homes, onto our bodies, into our air space, or not. Some people may say it's worth it to breathe in those chemicals and to have those chemicals sitting on my skin as long as I don't have to iron, and, it's waterproof or whatever, right? Or it feels better when I'm at the gym because doesn't stick to me when I'm sweaty or whatever. So those are some decisions that we have to make for ourselves. But I thought I would give you just a little bit of info. I did some research. I wrote some things down that I wanted to just share with you guys. And obviously you can go and do all your own research and probably find a lot of this information yourself, but I'm just drawing awareness to it. I am by no means a clothing manufacturer expert. But let's talk about what are some of the dyes or the chemicals that are found in the dyes or on the clothing that we should really be aware of. And so one is going to be the azo dye that is found in blue jeans. It's one of the things that gives it its great blue jean color, right? And there's all different variations of that, and it's based on the type of azo dye that is used and the variations of that. Now, in the EU, I'm going to reference the EU, the European Union, a couple of times because there are so many chemicals, I've said it before, that are banned in the EU that manufacturers just are not allowed to use them. and with good reason, because they are very, very toxic. Like just in makeup and beauty products alone, there's over 1,800 chemicals that are banned in the EU, and there's like 11 of them that are banned here in the United States. So guys, if we are not being our best advocates, if we are not doing our own research, we cannot depend on our country to have our backs in cases like that. So in cases like this, especially when it has to do with manufacturing and chemicals. So I think, I don't even think it was all that long ago that they found lead in baby bibs, in the plastic and in the PVC that is being used, lead and all the phthalates in the PVC plastic, all those carcinogens. And what are our babies doing with their bibs? They're just gnawing on them. And so that's kind of scary. So this is why we need to advocate for ourselves. Right. Okay, so that dye that's in blue jeans, if you've ever bought a pair of jeans and you didn't wash them first and you wore them, and maybe you were standing with your hands in your pocket, or you had something in your pocket, a credit card, or for me, a guitar pick. I've done this. I throw my guitar picks in. I got a new pair of jeans on. I'm going to a gig. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good in my new jeans. And I take my guitar pick out and it's blue from the pocket. Or something I've been sitting on. I know somebody borrowed my cajon drum, which is a drum that you sit on. They came up and they were performing on it and using it, and they got up and went back to their seat, and my top of my drum was blue. I'm like, new jeans, didn't wash them. And so it is that dye specifically that causes that color. Now, there are certain places, like when I think about the EU, so the EU has banned that, certain forms of that dye in their clothing, and we have not in America. However, in California, I think it was like Proposition 46 or something like that, 86, 46, I don't know. They have required California to put warning labels on even their clothing, but maybe you've seen California warning labels may cause cancer. There are a lot of things that have that label, and it's because that was something that was that position that was passed in California to require that, but just in California. So I'm not seeing it, necessarily here. So I looked at what Greenpeace did a study back in 2012, which was not that long ago, about 140 clothing samples. And out of those 140 clothing samples, at least 90 of them were shown to have significant amounts of chemicals in them. And one chemical in particular, I can't really pronounce, but when you see it, it's NPE. So the NPEs, okay? When you see that, they are also ironically found in laundry detergents, which is what we would think would take the chemicals off of the clothing for us. But a lot of laundry detergents have NPEs, which is very toxic, and it is linked to things like asthma, skin irritations, it's even considered a carcinogen, and it is linked to things like especially testicular cancer. So there are a lot of things that it's linked to. So the very detergent that we would hope we would wash our new clothes in and would take that chemical off is actually putting it on it. So if your clothing didn't have it to begin with, it does now because it was in the detergent that you used. Yay. Okay. So let me see what else that's linked to. Well, reproductive and developmental issues. So here's the thing about NPEs that I was kind of shocked about is NPEs are often found in breast milk, blood, and urine. Okay. How are they getting in to the breast milk, to our blood, into our urine? They're being absorbed into our skin when we wear clothing that has those chemicals in it. But for traces of that to be found in those specimens, there needs to be a significant amount of them present. So that to me was a little bit scary when I read that. What is really kind of nervy about me is that if the laundry detergent is also carrying it, so not only is it not removing it, but it's depositing it on, it is known that NPEs actually leach into our waterways, into the water systems, because they do go into the rinse water. So some of it is taken out of your clothes, yes, and your laundry detergent has it in it. And so it gets into the waterways, and it's actually been proven to really damage marine life. Aquatic animals and stuff, they can't survive around NPEs, and that they're breathing it into their system through obviously their gills and So what? And it's very toxic and dangerous to them. So what is it doing to us? We are much larger creatures, much more complex, systems. And so for us, it may show up in like developmental issues, reproductive issues, things like that, has all been linked to that. So it's kind of scary, right? How about the chemicals, those chemicals that you smell when you're going back to when we first open up our packages? Most of the time, that's a formaldehyde that you're smelling. That's the chemical that you're smelling. Formaldehyde, the stuff that you use to embalm bodies with. It's like, that's on my clothing. I smell like a body. Anyway, so the formaldehyde, as we are purchasing more and more online and we're hit with that smell when it comes out of the bag, it is one of those things that like does release. It's a gas, so it does release into your air. And that's why, when you first open the package, you smell it, but then you might set it on your bed, set it aside or whatever. And when you come back later, you're maybe not smelling it as much. It is because it is dissipated into your air and is now adding to the air pollution that you have in your home. There are enough other things that are polluting our homes. And so formaldehyde is not really what I want to be polluting my home. I don't know about you guys. But it is the formaldehyde that keeps our clothes wrinkle free. And it can't always be scrubbed off with detergent and water. That's another thing that's important to know about formaldehyde. So, in the stores, we don't smell it because it's such a big, wide area. And once they've taken them off and they've hung them on those racks, that's why a lot of times, if you've ever worked in a store like a clothing store, all of the clothing is unboxed or packaged in the back and hung on racks. And we think it's done just to have the wrinkles release. And yes, that is part of it. But a big part of that is those racks stay in that back area until they no longer smell really bad. And then they're brought out onto the sales floor where whatever's left of that chemical just dissipates into the big area. So I, for one, never want a job or never want my children to have a job where they are unboxing large amounts of clothing like that and being the people to put them up onto the racks, because they're in a smaller area, more contained area, and they're just breathing that in massive amounts, more so than you bringing in one or two items of clothing into your home is going to do for you, or to you, I guess I should say. Now, there are a lot of other chemicals to be aware of in clothing in America. Again, not in the EU because a lot of it's banned, but in America, there is still a lot of clothes. A lot of our clothing is made in China. We see that all the time. And clothing that is made in China there's no regulation on that I know of anyway, on the chemicals that are used. In fact, even more chemicals are used. So what are we going to do about that? I mean, we're not going to stop buying new clothes, right? Says the girl who's probably going to buy something today. So how do you purchase clothes safely? What do you do about that? There are a lot of organic clothing manufacturers out there. It's becoming more and more popular to use the organic materials and chemical-free clothing lines. And there's some really cool ones, like very trendy and earthy, just clothes that I particularly love. But it's not always cost prohibitive or effective to shop that way. It is cost prohibitive for many people, or many people just prefer Walmart clothes or Target clothes or whatever. There's some really cute styles out there. So what are you going to do if you are not going to be able to go online and purchase organic clothing? There are some stores locally that do carry. I mean, we have a store here in East Aurora that has a whole line of bamboo clothes, and they're so soft and they're just gorgeous, and they're, for the most part, as far as I know, pretty chemical free. But that comes at a price tag, just like buying organic fruits and vegetables. If you can't afford to buy the organic fruits and vegetables, then you want to make sure that you're washing all those chemicals off of them so that at least you have that, right? Even though a lot of those do leach into the actual fruits and vegetables. This way, at least the surface is clean, right? So same thing with the clothes. So here are some steps that you can take. Number one, obviously, buy more chemical-free clothes if you can. Do a little research, find out like what kind of chemicals are used in the clothes from Thailand or from the Philippines. I have clothes that were made in the Philippines, or different manufacturers. What chemicals are being used in our American-made clothing, because we do want to be buying American. A lot of people would prefer that, and so what are the chemicals that we are using, and is there anything that we can do about it to have our country be more responsible with that? I mean, it's something to look into if you would like. Okay. But if you are just going to keep buying the way that you've always been buying, which I don't blame you, what are some things that you can do to help mitigate the chemicals? So number one, you can take your new clothing. So say you went to the store, you bought a bunch of different things, bring them home. You're going to rinse them in cold water first. So you're just going to put them in a tub or a basin or whatever and just put them in super cold water. Okay, swish them around. Then you're going to take that same clothing once you've dumped that bucket out and then just kind of do another faucet rinse to get more of the residue off. You're going to put them in the washer at the hottest temperature that the label of the clothing will allow. Okay, so you're not going to want to wash it at your Sani wash that you might do your towels for your bathroom. You're not going to do like a wool or a silk necessarily blouse that way. So just check your label and see what is a good temperature to use on that. So that's number one. And then, or number two, sorry. Actually, that's number three. Buy organic, rinse in cold water, then do a wash with the hottest water possible. Okay. And then if you can, look for a chemical neutralizing laundry booster. Okay. So obviously, hopefully it's obvious, it goes without saying, you want to choose detergents that are free from the SLS and the SLES and the formaldehydes and the phenols and all of those things, okay? NPEs and all of that. You want to make sure that your detergent is clean to start with, okay? I use a laundry detergent that also, has essential oils in it. And so those oils do also help to neutralize some of those chemicals as well. But that's not for everybody, as much as I think it should be. But, so if you're choosing a more chemical-free laundry detergent, you can also go ahead and get a chemical neutralizing agent. There are a couple on the market that you can purchase. You just add that to your wash cycle, and that helps to neutralize those chemicals that are found in the clothes, and helps to break those down and get rid of them. Oh yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to say is if you are going to be doing like a nice large load, maybe you just bought a brand new comforter or a bed set or sheets or a bunch of towels and jeans or whatever, and you're doing a nice big load like that to get those chemicals out, and you've used your chemical neutralizer, you want to make sure that you do rinse your tub out first before you put your next load in, because a lot of those chemicals are just stuck to the tub or the seal and the whatever in your washer. And so you want to get those out as much as possible. So you're going to rinse in cold water, then you're going to wash in your hottest water with chemical-free detergent and hopefully chemical neutralizing enhancer. And then when you take that out and put that in your dryer, and not use dryer sheets because it's the number one air pollutant in your house, your wool balls or whatever you're putting in there, then you're going to do a rinse on your tub. Now I have a front load washer, and I actually have a tub clean cycle. So I will go ahead and just put the tub clean cycle on and I'll wash it through. So then I know next time I'm going to do a load of laundry, it's fresh, it's clean, it's ready to go. And I'm not going to take the residue of all those chemicals that I took the effort to get rid of and place it right back on my clothes that probably didn't have them on anymore themselves. So we don't want to add it on. So hopefully all that makes sense. And hopefully that is some good information. And again, even if you are not able to change everything all at once, even if you start with, if you're not buying organic clothing, grab a chemical neutralizer and add that to your washer. Change up your laundry detergent. Just steps, 1, 2, 3 steps. Each time you make a move in one direction or another, you are able to make a significant impact. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. And yeah. Clothes. Who knew? Take care.